Hello again, watch friends. Welcome back. Let me talk about the Seiko 6138 0040 chronograph. But first, a little Seiko chrono history. The 6138. The 6138 0040 was part of the Seiko family and introduced in 1969. According to Seiko, the Seiko 5 line got its name because of 5 traits of each model in the line. These included durable case and bracelet, recessed crown at 4 o'clock, obviously not this model, a date display, automatic winding, and water resistance. The 6138 models were produced from the early 1970s until about 1980. The predecessor, 6139, was the first ever automatic chronograph, and the 6138 was the first automatic chrono to have a vertical clutch and column wheel. Also, 2 other innovations were unique to Seiko. The material for the mainspring, Diaflex, which is rugged and unbreakable, and anti-shock system called DiaShock, used in almost all Seiko watches since it was invented. The 6138 0040 Bullhead. The Bullhead earned its name because Seiko rotated the movement within the case 90 degrees, putting the chrono pushers and crown at the 12 o'clock position instead of the usual 3 o'clock position. As a result, the top of the watch resembles the horns of a bull. This particular version is from July 1975 and is the less common black dial colorway. The other version, brown and gold, is a little more common. The case is brushed stainless steel, unpolished, and is like new with the original finishes still intact. Interestingly, the case thickens towards the top, slightly tilting the dial towards the wearer. I assume this was to aid in reading the chrono times. The case asymmetry also extends to the solid link bracelet, since it tapers slightly on the clasp ends of the bracelet. This vintage piece has the original Seiko fishbone stainless steel bracelet. The only non-standard addition is a bracelet extension, so it fits my 7.5-inch wrist. The bracelet has been dubbed the fishbone due to its central spine of vertical links and horizontal scales. Apparently, this particular bracelet was included in models meant for North America, whereas JDM versions, JDM being Japanese domestic market, JDM versions of the watch had a more traditional oyster bracelet. The clasp is the original Seiko branded fold-over clasp, which securely keeps the watch on the wrist. The case back is screw-down type, and the bezel insert is nearly perfect, shows no paint loss and no visible signs of marring. The non-rotating bezel has a tachymeter scale, ubiquitous on many chronographs. Silver markings on a black background make the bezel and scale highly legible. The diameter of this watch is 44 millimeters, and the height is 16 millimeters. This is a tall watch, and it sits high on the wrist. Lug-to-lug distance is 45 millimeters. There are no lugs per se, but the distance from the top to the bottom of the case, not including the crown or pushers, is 45 millimeters. The crystal is Seiko's Hardlex mineral glass. Hardlex glass is a synthetic material and is very resistant to scratching. On my bullhead, the crystal is the only thing that's been replaced. Strapped with Another idiosyncratic aspect of this watch is the asymmetric bracelet. The width at the bottom of the case and at the top of the case are different, with the top being slightly wider. The dial is very symmetrical and pleasingly crisp, with a black matte finish and sub-registers for chrono minutes at 3 o'clock and hours at 9 o'clock. Both of these totalizers are continuous while the chronograph is running. Also, these sub-registers are inset, giving a sense of depth to the dial design. The sub-dials are blue with white printed numbers. Each is a rounded square design, which I think adds a little bit of visual interest to the dial. At the 6 o'clock position, day and date are presented vertically. My version shows days in either English or Spanish, and once chosen, remains in that mode as the days progress. White loom sticked hands for hours and minutes extend to their appropriate dial markings. The minutes hand extends all the way to the minutes track. The hour hand is shorter, as expected, and extends to the inner edge of the hour markers. Overall, the watch is extremely legible, which makes time reading quick and easy. The second sweep hand is needle-shaped and is in yellow, also making the seconds easy to read. The yellow sweep hand also adds visual interest to the dial as well. The applied hour markers on this vintage piece have the original loom, are evenly toned, and shows little signs of aging. Adding to the attention to the detail, as was a hallmark of Seiko watches of this era, there is a discrete Suwa symbol just above the day-date windows. A nice but very subtle touch, especially for those of us who are self-described as anoraks. We love this kind of thing. The movement is the automatic 6138. It's a slightly newer, it's Seiko's second automatic chronograph movement. It's a slightly newer version of the 6139 movement and adds a couple of useful features. These include manual winding. The day and date can be set independently. Moving the crown to the first position and turning it one direction advances the day, and turning it the other direction advances the date. Pulling the crown to the second position allows you to set the time as you would expect. The 6138 uses a vertical clutch and column wheel, and most Seiko vintage chrono aficionados consider this a classic, robust, and serious chronograph movement. Interesting factoid. Rolex used the same approach, column wheel and vertical coupling system, on their Daytona chronograph. The 6138 operates at 21,000 beats per hour. Just a few comments of the bullhead on the wrist. One thing to notice is that the fishbone bracelet is thin and a little bit wobbly, although quite flexible. As a result, it keeps the watch firmly in position with no sliding of the watch head towards the outer side of the wrist, as can happen on top-heavy watches. Because of the size, or more importantly, the height, this watch is not going to fit under the cuff. That's okay, since the bullhead has no aspirations to being a dress watch. Also because of the height, many of these bullhead pieces show signs of knocks and wear due to physical contact. Fortunately, mine does not, which adds to the appeal of this particular piece. So, in summary, Seiko vintage chronographs are fun to collect. The bullhead is not an everyday wearer, but fun to wear and a real conversation starter. Between the earlier 6139 movement-based pieces and the slightly later 6138 movement-based models, There are dozens of variants to choose from. Different colors, number of totalizers and their position, and, of course, bezels. Bezel colors, bezel functions, etc. But if you're interested in collecting any of these models, you need to be careful, as there are many fakes and Franken versions using parts that are either not original or not model appropriate, available on various watch sale sites. Some watches have inferior aftermarket dials, hands, and bezels. It's best to buy from a reputable seller if you want to get an authentic piece. The 6138-0040 is not a rare watch, but it can be difficult to find in original, pristine condition. I'd be interested to know your collecting approach to Seiko vintage chronographs and what models you have or aspire to. Feel free to comment below and share your experiences and opinions. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button to be alerted of future videos. I'm Art Lamberger. This is my channel, and as usual, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.